no contact at all hardly with Rusty Wallace today.
No, it's unscathed. Well, Jerry Punch has a report from the pit area. Jerry?
Well, you've seen it in college football and the NFL. Watching film is very critical to making a team change that may improve your performance. Well, right here in the Joe Gibbs pits, where else would you want to see a film or camera but right here on top of their pit box? Dale Jarrett's team, they film every single pit stop. They go back to the shop, and now they're going to watch, see how they can improve. This little camera here may be one of the most critical pieces of pit equipment in Winston Cup racing here on the short track.
Well, you do everything to make the car run better and to make yourself work a little harder, more efficiently. Allison and Marlin are running together again.
That's fourth position. Marlin has the fourth position. Davey Allison trying to take it away.
Ooh, almost came up in the corner, made some contact, but Davey has the spot.
Davey goes to fourth, Marlin back to fifth.
Sterling's car is just not running as it did, as well as it did before the pit stop.
Sterling led 189 laps of this race.
Probably has an excellent chance to lead the most laps with that 189 laps.
Yep.
I think it's pretty well assured that he will get the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps.
You see Davey trying to get alongside Jimmy Spencer, who's alongside of Bobby Hillin.
A lot of traffic.
Takes his by Spencer. Starsley takes a position away, but that was not for position.
Rusty's involved in some traffic too, signaling to some drivers behind him. Probably saying thank you for moving over and letting me by. Hut Strickland is just ahead in the McDonald's Ford, and ahead of Hut is Waltrip.
That's Kenny Wallace right in front of Rusty.
Rusty is really gaining on Ken Schrader now. Of course, Ken has been out there quite a while on the tires he has on his Kodiak Chevrolet. Dick Trickle going very slowly up the backstretch.
There's another indication of how faster you are on new tires. 104.7 was the speed before the pit stop, and 112 was the speed after the pit stop.
Well, Rusty just goes right by the Dirt Devil Pontiac.
Says hello to his brother as he goes by, probably.
Tell you what, Rusty's did something this year. Did I hear you say 5 top finishes after Daytona?
Yep, and he needs only to lead a few more laps, and he will equal what he led in entire 1992. So it has been indeed a big comeback for the Rusty Wallace Miller Genuine Draft Crew. We'll be right back.
Why use Valvoline Motor Oil? It's the #1 choice of Indy 500 Chief Mechanics, Daytona 500 Chief Mechanics, NHRA Mechanics, and Baja 1000 Mechanics. For use in their race cars and in their own cars. Any more questions? People who know use Valvoline.
From the days when they ripped through the sands of Daytona to tracks like Talladega and Darlington, racing fans have had a love affair with the drivers. To commemorate these heroes, Country Time presents our new Collector Series, featuring Kulwicki, Gant, Shepard, Hamilton, Jarrett, and Darrell Waltrip. What better way to salute the men who risk it all on the Speedway and the fans who make it all worthwhile.
When 280 seemed out of reach, it's Joe Amato and Autolite who punch it. The wall goes to 290. Connie Coletta and Autolite smash it. 300, the barrier. Kenny Bernstein and Autolite shatter it. So good! Autolite and the Record Breakers.
Wow! I feel good!
We feel pretty good about that.
More of the history in Wilkes County, North Carolina, in which North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway is located. This is the Tory Oak, located behind the courthouse, from whose limbs it is said that sympathizers with the Crown were hanged during the Revolutionary War period. You can see that the recent snowstorm kind of damaged it, but what about that, Benny? Did they hang some people from the Tory Oak?
That's pretty serious. Oh, caution flag.
I think we got debris on the racetrack.
A caution flag.
How about that's only the third one of the day. Rusty Wallace, by the way, had taken the lead from Ken Schrader before this caution came out, and this is how he did it.
We had those fresher tires, so basically it was uncontested. Schrader comes off the corner, Rusty drives alongside and takes the spot away.
Going to be a break for Ken Schrader because he was going to have to make another pit stop, and now he'll get to do it under caution.
Yep, and we've got less than 100 laps to go, 97 to go as a matter of fact, with 303 complete. This is the third caution of the day.
So they can all make it from here.
Yeah, bad break for Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Ford. He sat on the pole. He had just made a pit stop, was coming out of the pits when this caution flew.
He's in 18th right now. There is the debris on the track that has caused our caution, and the track crew waiting to run across the track and retrieve it.
Now we're going to see some races on pit road. Those are all going to be in, changing 4 tires, and there they go.
Here comes Rusty. Only those on the lead lap now will be able to come in this time. Schrader is in, so is Allison, Marlin, and Kyle Petty. Now Marlin's problem was the car was too tight. They'll try to... These are the 2 crews that have been doing the best job on pit road today. The Wallace team on top and the Allison crew on the bottom. And they are both doing super. Oh, Allison, a great.
But Rusty Wallace is way down toward turn 1. See, the position on the pit road makes a difference because Rusty drives out in front of Davies.
Rusty will be able to get out ahead of Davey and Kyle.
Kyle Petty's going to come out third.
Ken Schrader, who came in second, is still on the jack down in turn 1.
NASCAR official held him up there momentarily until the field could get back. 17.31 for Davies' crew on the pit stop. Good stop. Well, while we're under caution, we'll get a commercial break out of the way here at the First Union 400 at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina.
City, Jake Morris Boulevard, Newport News.
Ready, set, go. Go Karts Plus. Complete family entertainment at one convenient location. Figure 8 track, slick track, bumper boats, miniature golf, children's area, game room, and more. Bring your entire family out to Go Karts Plus for a rip-roaring good time. Go Karts Plus, located on Route 60 West, next to the Williamsburg Pottery. Open daily.
And the not-so-young join 2-time Olympic gold medalist Roger Kingdom in the biggest track and field meet in the world, the Penn Relay Carnival, Saturday afternoon at 4 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Still under caution at North Wilkesboro, ESPN Speed World coverage of the First Union 400. Well, Davey Allison had a 17.5-second pit stop, and rather a 17.31, and Rusty's crew had a 17.5-second pit stop.
Now, if Rusty had been, his crew had been a couple seconds slower, he would be second place to Davey Allison. And I tell you what, passing on these short tracks, as you've seen today, is very difficult.
He went into the pits in first place, and he's come out in first place. And here is an interesting statistic for me. Look at this. Already in the first 7 races, he has led more laps this season than in all of 92. John?
Well, you know, walking up and down pit road, watching the tire changes this afternoon, most of the teams are using sticker tires, brand new tires, but not Davey Allison. They are using scuff tires, tires that have got 2 laps on them. And Larry McReynolds says they have been very consistent for them all day long. So we might see Davey contend for the win. In fact, one of the crew people came up just a minute ago and said, hey, this is just like last year in reverse.
Here comes the field off corner number 4. They get the green flag, and we go back to racing on lap 309.
Well, Ernie Irvin went out quick around Rick Wilson to get on the outside of him to follow Davey. Ernie was down on the inside where the left cars were supposed to be.
Looked like he's going to try to pass Davey on the outside then. I thought so too.
Rusty's jumped out to a pretty good lead over Davey, but Davey closes in now as he has cleared the traffic.
You know, one thing's going to happen in this race. Pontiac has won 2, Ford has won 2, and Chevrolet has won 2 of the 6 races so far. So this will break the tie as far as wins, as far as manufacturers are concerned.
Yeah, that battle is as good as the points battle among the drivers.
And right now we've got Fords and Pontiacs in the first 4 spots.
They turned a lap a little more than 114.5 miles an hour last time. 114.6.
Wow.
You compare that now with a 117.6 that was the new track record set in qualifying by Dale.
And Dale Jarrett just
stopped.
Something happened to his engine or something.
Yeah, he didn't stop, but boy, he slowed dramatically.
He's trying to get to the pits.
Jerry, what's the problem?
Dale just radioed and said, I got a bad vibration. Bad vibration. So he's going to slow it and bring it down pit road. Probably the engine, guys. Could be a long day.
Boy, he did create a log jam there on the backstretch. Everybody survived it, but boy, he got off, or the car quit running on him, and everybody had to get on the brakes to avoid running into the back.
Yeah, when coming off turn 2, and we can see how slow Dale Jarrett is. And Rick Wilson almost he did run the back of him twice, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I saw a puff of smoke from that car, I think, so let's see what they do. The car on the pit road, and it appears as if they're going to put it behind the wall. Jerry, right?
Well, they're pushing it down pit road. I grabbed Jimmy Maycar. Jimmy, what's the problem?
Looked like something happened to the motor. He just said it started vibrating real bad, and looked like a little bit of oil running out of the bottom of it, so something must have happened to the motor.
That's a tough break for Dale Jarrett, Jimmy Maycar, and the team headed back to the garage area. His day is over.
Yeah, Dale had run in the top 10 just about all race long, but now the Interstate Battery Chevy is behind the wall. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th here. Running nose to tail.
Sterling Marlin in 5th, Terry Labonte in 6th, Ricky Rudd in 7th, and Darrell Walker 8th, and Morgan Shepherd 9th. Just how many cars are in the middle lap?
I felt for Terry Labonte just a little bit. The Kellogg's Cornflake Chevrolet, they pointed towards this race. They felt like this was a race that they could win. They built a car for this racetrack, came up and tested a couple of times. They made pit stops here, and yesterday afternoon they blew the engine with 4 laps of practice. In that last hour, the happy hour, they only got 4 laps of practice, and really was disappointing.
Jerry?
And Benny, you know, as you mentioned about Terry Labonte, they came here with 3 race cars and tested for 3 days. They practiced pit stops. They ran long runs. They ran short runs. They changed cars. They changed tires. Pete Wright and that crew at work pointing toward this race. They know Terry likes this racetrack, but it's all going to come up a little bit short today.
Ricky Rudd and Darrell Waltrip are battling for position. Waltrip to the inside of Ricky, but Rudd holds him off for the moment. We'll continue with our live coverage from North Wilkesboro as Rusty Wallace is looking for his 3rd win of the '93 season.
A hot new peanut just rode into town with a spicy taste that's getting everybody all fired up.
Got some more? Maybe you ought to practice with mild.
Try new Planters Heat in mild and hot.
Why use Valvoline Motor Oil? For their race cars and their own cars, Valvoline is the #1 choice of race mechanics from Indy 500 to Daytona 500 to NHRA to Baja to SCCA.
Major League excitement.
5 nights a week.
On ESPN.
This week on America's Game of the Week, Andy Van Slyke leads the Pirates against Darryl Strawberry and the Dodgers. Tonight, live on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Rusty Wallace leads the first Union 400 at the end of 323 laps. And his advantage is about 88/100ths of a second over Davey Allison. Kyle Petty's almost 2 seconds behind. Schrader a little over 3, and Marlin is 5 seconds behind in 5th position.
And folks, you won't believe it, but Bob Jenkins does that himself. I mean, with a little computer here, he hits the button to get those numbers. And Bob,
what do you mean you won't believe that?
I mean, I can't believe that you're doing a great job.
Something that involves numbers, usually I have problems with.
Exactly.
Since it's just hitting the button, why it's pretty easy.
Well, this battle continues here with Sterling Marlin running in 5th place. Terry Labonte is 6th. Ricky Rudd there in 7th place. Morgan Shepherd right behind him in 8th place.
And we see that Rudd and Morgan Shepherd disposed of Darrell Walsh and went up and caught this group.
These guys look like they're tied together with a chain almost. Now Labonte inside Marlin on this front stretch. Labonte won this race back in 1988. He won the fall race in '87.
Swing throw for Junior Johnson, I believe. Right.
Yes, he did win the race with Junior's car.
5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th right here.
Darrell, you can see him back there. This car doesn't seem to be working quite as good now as it was a little bit earlier. It might be a little bit tight, but as it run on, that might work to his favor. Here's Shepherd going up on the outside of Ricky Rudd. Hey, look at that. Made a good run, got a bite off of that turn. Rudd's going to race him into turn 3, but Shepherd just drives her right on in there.
Yeah. He made that look pretty easy on the outside.
Yeah.
Sterling Marlin, by the way, has picked up the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps, but it appears as if his chance to win his first NASCAR Winston Cup event, well, the chances aren't as good as they were a while ago because he was leading this race and dominating it for a while. Now back to 5th, and there is the leader, Rusty Wallace. There's the 52 car.
Jimmy Means.
Now, Hurley Limo is on the quarter panel there in the back, but on the front of it is another interesting sponsor story.
Race Fans Incorporated, which is just a group of race fans, and they're interested in getting new members to their club. There's an 800 number on the back of the car. You can read it, and they'd be happy to have you join up, and their funds go into helping Jimmy Means in a sponsorship form.
And the administrative fee is, I mean, there is a small administrative fee for that, but I don't think it's anything substantial at all.
No.
I talked to those people back and look at Morgan. He's passed the 5 on the outside. Now he's passed the 14 on the outside.
Now Ricky Rudd looks up there and
there.
said, hey, wait a minute, there's something going on here. I got passed up there. Why don't I try to do it?
There's the last lap, 109.8, and the comparison between that and the pole speed.
Rudd is not able to do it as easily as Morgan Shepherd. As a matter of fact, Rudd wasn't able to do it at all.
67 laps to go.
That moves Shepherd into the 6th position. Kenny Schrader is still 4th. Rusty leads. Davey Allison 2nd. Kyle Petty 3rd. Ken Schrader is 4th. Sterling Marlin is 5th. Now Shepherd trying to take it away from him. He is 6th. Boy, he's getting that outside groove working.
Well, it sure is. It is working for him. He moves alongside of Sterling now, trying to take over 5th.
Ooh, got a little high that time. Couldn't quite do it, but he'll run up there again in turns 1 and 2. This is where he's done his best work on the outside. Ooh, they went in there both a little hard, but Shepherd now.
Well, he's going to do it.
On him. Yep.
He passed all 3 of those cars. Whoa, here comes Sterling back.
Yeah, the turns 3 and 4 is not as good, the outside groove up there, as it is in turns 1 and 2. but he didn't lose any ground. In fact, he gained a little bit, so he now has the position. That's 5th place.
Morgan successfully has moved to 5th position in the outside line. And here's the leader. You're riding with him, Rusty Wallace. We'll be right back.
We started a revolution in the streets. And now it's hitting the water. Introducing the Yamaha Wave Blaster. Essentially, it's the world's most radically advanced bike. Now available on the water.
The other day I get in my car, won't start. No small problem, right? Well, I figure it's the battery, so I go down to the AutoZone and I tell him what I need. The guy says to me, let's check your old one first. It might not be the problem. Turns out he was right. All I needed was a new battery cable. Talk about saving money. Now you tell me, would another parts store done that? They made sure I got exactly what I needed. Now I'll remember that. Believe me, I will.
Good crowd on hand here at North Wilkesboro. They're enjoying the wonderful weather, bright sunshine, and they're also enjoying a great Winston Cup race here at North Wilkesboro. There are the top 5, and again, how they are separated. Rusty Wallace with a 7.25 second lead on the top 5 places right now. Kyle Petty seems to be the guy who is making up the most distance right now.
He is definitely gaining on Davey Allison. You can see he has closed right in on him. He was more than a second behind. That's not a second the distance that we see there. Look at him drive into the turn. He drives in a little bit deeper than Davey. The car sticks down on the inside, so he is coming.
From 22nd to 4th to 6th, moved to 3rd at lap 3:15, and at the present time, lap 3:42, he holds on to 3rd spot, but is challenging or is about to catch the 2nd place Davey Allison.
He's really picking up time going into turn 3. He really drives it deep down on the inside. They come up on Bobby Hillen's Heilig Mars Ford. Now Kyle has to go high here. Let's see how that'll affect him because he's been running right down on the bottom of the racetrack. Didn't seem to affect him too much there. Stayed about the same distance behind Davey. But watch him pick it up going into turn 3 here.
He just closes right up on the bumper of Allison.
Right in the middle of that corner is where he does all that damage to Davey. If Davey goes up the hill a little bit right here, he's going to get past. You see Mark Martin slow.
Now Mark just moves completely out of the way, let off on the gas and let those guys go and race for their position. He knows that he's out of it and he's not going to foul up anybody else who's out there running for the win.
32nd position Mark is. Now there is Rusty Wallace, and if points were awarded right now, he would be the new points leader in NASCAR Winston Cup. We saw the interval there between 1st and 2nd and 3rd as once again Kyle runs strong in the 3rd and 4th turns.
Man, oh man.
Rusty would have an 18-point lead on Dale Earnhardt if points were awarded right now. Earnhardt currently running in the 16th spot.
Here comes Kyle once again trying to get on the bottom. Davey trying desperately to keep him back there.
Rusty just led his 68th lap.
That was Rusty, and here is 2nd and 3rd. That's the real battle on the racetrack.
Once again, Kyle tries to get alongside Davey. Can't quite make it.
Darrell Waltrip has moved around Ricky Rudd back in the pack for 8th position. Rudd now dropped back to 9th. 9 cars on the lead lap.
Earnhardt just let him by. But the Black is Back theme certainly is continuing this weekend. The black and yellow Miller Genuine Draft leading. The black and red Havoline Ford second. The black and green Mellow Yellow Pontiac is third.
I guess Black has won every race except Morgan Shepherd winning at Atlanta.
Atlanta, yep.
Here's Kyle. He's got a nose up there. He might get him this time, baby.
He's got a nice run. No traffic right in front of him.
Oh, I hope I don't have to say it both of them spin. Nope, I didn't.
Well, Davey's strong off of the turn, though. But here's where Kyle does his best work, is going into that turn 3, and as Benny said, right through the middle of the turn.
Well, Davey goes back pretty strong. It's pretty equal.
Davey has the first half of the racetrack, and Kyle has the second half. Now, I don't know. Kyle may have him this time.
Kyle couldn't accelerate full off of that turn. The car was going to break loose with him because he didn't have the right angle off the turn. Now he gets a little bit more there coming off the turn.
Yeah, there you go. Whoa! Look out, look out, look out. Look at Kyle.
Saved it. Davey really did a good job of saving it.
He looked
no
like
caution.
Steve Kinzer going through the first turn, didn't he? Gee.
Here's Morgan Shepherd passing Davey Allison, and that is for position.
Power sliding through the corner.
Kenny Schrader went by, took over third. Morgan now taking over fourth. Well, that's some great driving.
Boy, he cost him some positions, but boy, was that fun to watch.
How in the world? Let's see if we can figure anything out here now. Here they come off the corner. They come off the fourth corner. Now Davey tries to get underneath Kyle. Kyle goes down and gets bumped in the rear. Davey hits the brakes and turns away from Kyle Petty. And both of them go down, and he's up next to the wall, and Kyle...
Dirt track.
Man, oh man.
That was unbelievable.
Jim Roper, the old dirt track racer, would have been proud of that. But one thing you got to be concerned about there is, boy, they used up some tires right there. Spinning sideways like that. They didn't flat spot them because they kept them rolling. But it heated them up more than they were.
And the concern that you have is if Kyle Petty getting up in that loose stuff.
Of course, Rusty Wallace, while all that was going on, man, he just drove away from him and has picked himself up a good lead.
Kyle remains in second spot. But what a ride he had up toward the first turn wall. Rusty continues to lead here with 358 laps completed. We'll be right back.
Why use Valvoline Motor Oil? It's the #1 choice of Indy 500 chief mechanics, Daytona 500 chief mechanics, NHRA mechanics, and Baja 1000 mechanics. For use in their race cars and in their own cars. Any more questions? People who know use Valvoline.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Red Ball Fire! You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will, what a thrill. Doesn't it to raise the red balls of fire?
Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug.
It's like stepping back into time when you visit some portions of Wilkes County, North Carolina. This is the home of Robert Cleveland, a gentleman farmer, and his family of 17, who was built in the 1770s in Purlear in western Wilkes County, moved to Wilkesboro and remained behind the old jail. Colonel Benjamin Cleveland, who was Robert's brother, led forces from this region to the Battle of Kings Mountain during the Revolutionary War.
And Bob, I pass that house going to school every day.
Is that right? Huh. Well, Rusty Wallace is still in command of the first Union 400. Here's the interval back to second place, and there's Kyle. Third is Schrader, fourth, Shepherd, fifth, Davey. Sixth, Terry Labonte, and seventh is Sterling Marlin.
And in eighth place is Darrell Waltrip, and Ricky Rudd is ninth. Those are the 9 cars that are on the lead lap. And in the 10th position, one lap down, is Bill Elliott. Jimmy Hensley, good run going here today, and the Kawicki Racing car is in 11th place. He also is one lap down. In 12th place is Ernie Irvin in car number 4. He is 2 laps down.
Here's a field summary. We'll show you graphically where they are, and then you can see where they are on the racetrack as we lock down the shot here and have the field pass under our camera in turn 1. Rusty Wallace looks for his 2nd straight win and his 24th of his career.
This would be his 3rd victory this year, correct?
Yep, 3rd this year, 2nd in a row.
No other driver has more than one.
Well, there's Rick Mast in car number 1. He's shown in 18th position. 4 laps down. Mast, 100th career Winston Cup start. And there's Wally Dallenbach in the Keystone car. Number 16, where's he?
He's 20th.
20th, okay. Jimmy Means.
27th.
Back of him.
Phil Parsons is 19th, the Mannheim Auto Auction car.
Brother Phil.
Then comes Kyle Petty. He is in 2nd place in the Mellow Yellow Pontiac.
The 4 car of Ernie Irvin you see back there is 2 laps down in 12th spot. He started the race basically 2 laps down. Was involved on that first lap crash.
Yeah, he began the race 3rd, but before the first lap was completed, he was in a wreck.
There's a 3rd place car, Kenny Schrader, Kodiak Chevrolet.
Here's one of the Rookie of the Year contenders, Kenny Wallace. And because Jeff Gordon crashed out very early, both Wallace and Bobby Labonte will pick up points on Jeff.
And he's 15th. Kenny Wallace is 15th. Morgan Shepherd is 4th.
Shepherd is 4th, and Brett Bodine, the pole sitter, there now is in 16th position. He is 4 laps behind the leader.
There's the 5th place car of Davey Allison, Avalon Ford, defending champion of this event.
The 6th place car of Terry Labonte is the next car on the racetrack.
Showing some battle scars there on the left side. Kellogg's Corn Flake. Oh boy, look at this. Good luck. There is Rick Wilson, first of all. Sterling Marlin.
He's 23rd.
Marlin.
And Sterling Marlin is...
Come on, Benny.
7th.
Darrell.
Darrell is 8th.
Hutt.
Hutt, I don't know where he is. Let's see.
He's 24th.
24th, thank you, Ned.
Ricky.
Ricky Rudd is 9th. He's the only last car on the lead lap.
How about Earnhardt?
I remember Ned said that a minute ago. He's 17th.
Bobby Hamilton
is 29th.
Behind him is
Martin. He's 31st.
And how about Michael?
Michael Waltrip is
21st.
Thank you, Ned. And Bobby Labonte, I saw him back there. He is 25th.
There he is.
National House Ford.
Bobby Labonte.
Kenny Wallace is the top rookie in this race so far.
Yep.
15th.
There's Jeff Bodine. He is 28th currently, and the 7th car is currently 10th.
And Harry Gant
is 13th. Bobby Hillen in the 90 car is 26th. Alex Myers Furniture car. Never see Bill Elliott and Ted Musgrave. Bill Elliott currently running 11th, and Ted Musgrave is
22nd.
Running 20th.
He did pretty good, though. Rusty completes lap 378. 22 to go. We did miss 2 cars as we're making our pan back. The number 98 car we missed. And of course is Derek Cope.
He's 30th.
There's the driver snapshots showing you that Rusty started 9th, currently 1st. His highest lap was on 378. He took over the lead, and the lowest he has been was on lap 141. He was in 10th place at that time. He's led 90.
Oh, trouble up here. Jimmy Hensley has hit the wall. Has spun into the wall. Jimmy was running in the 10th position.
Caution comes out for the 4th time this afternoon, and Gary gets the car down off the, rather Jimmy, and gets the car down off the bank and continues running. Jimmy Hensley.
Yeah. We'll see some pit stops. You can see some damage done to the car. Let's see what did happen. Earnhardt down on the inside of him and clips him just a little bit going into the turn and shoots him around. Harry Gant almost hit him, but he was able to get by. Didn't look like Hensley hit the wall too hard, but
did a little bit of damage there in the left rear. Not a whole lot, but a little. Meanwhile, the leader of the race, Rusty Wallace, is coming in. So is second place Kyle.
Third place is coming in.
Yep.
Davies coming in.
So is Morgan.
They'll all have to. Once the leader came in, they all had to come in.
Well, they stopped at about the same time, so we'll see who is the quickest. Rusty's crew moves to the other side of the car faster than Kyle's.
Yeah, he's going to get out. If they don't have a miscue on the left side, he'll be out far in advance because he's further down the pit road. Well, Kyle's down off the jack and gone. That surprised me. Yeah, great pit stops.
About 19.5 seconds for Kyle Petty. Setting up now for the finish of this race, less than 20 to go. We remain under caution because of a spin involving Jimmy Hensley.
It's not just an auto part you have to return. It's those scowls and glares you'll get when you take it back. It's those absurd restocking fees. It's that big fat no you'll get when you try to return an electrical part. Next time, go to Advance Auto Parts. With our no hassle, no restrictions return policy, even on electrical parts. Returning a part is no big deal.
From the look of their advertising, you'd think every car dealer in the bloody universe is running a non-profit philanthropic organization. Well, bull.
At Williamsburg Ford Lincoln Mercury, our real difference is the smaller difference we'll settle for. A little more for your car, a little less for ours. Too simple to be true? Why not take the bull by the horns and come see?
We'll give a little more, take a little less at Williamsburg Ford Lincoln Mercury.
Your Give a Little dealer in Williamsburg.
Not only a lot of history, but a lot of beauty in Wilkes County, North Carolina. The old Wilkes Jail, completed in 1860, located behind the county courthouse, now been completely restored and is a museum. You know who one of its inmates was several years ago?
I know the answer to that because
not
I grew
Benny.
up here.
No, it wasn't Benny.
Okay.
No, it wasn't Benny. It was Tom Dooley. Jerry?
And Frank Edwards is the favorite down here in the pit road. Western Auto Mechanic of the race. Frank, who is married to the mayor of Middleburg, North Carolina, which happens to be his wife. And before you guys yucked it up upstairs. That's right. And Frank from Middleburg, North Carolina, is Western Auto Mechanic of the race. Green flag.
Congratulations to Frank. Here we go with 16 laps to go.
Darrell Walton was the guy who made up the most ground on that pit stop. He was running 8th coming in. He came out 5th.
Rusty Wallace trying to hang on. Everybody is equal now. They've all got fresh tires on. Kyle Petty is chasing him. So is Kenny Schrader.
Davey Allison.
Kyle's car doesn't seem to go quite as well on new tires. He seems to pick up a little bit after the run a while, and they don't have a while to run.
No, they don't. This thing is about over with. Just 14 laps to go. We're going to declare a winner. It looks like Rusty is just going to drive away from these boys. Looks like he really has things going.
Rusty's never won this race, but he did win the fall race in 1988.
That's what you love to see out of the rearview mirror. Distance. Yes.
Right.
Nothing. Nothing. Then when you see the whites of their eyes, you know you got problems.
Boy, there's a big pack of cars running together here, including Phil and Morgan Shepherd and Terry Labonte and Ricky Rudd.
Brett Boudin got caught up in a shuffle and lost about 10 cars past him and wasn't in position. Yeah, they're heavy.
Here's Schrader.
Now, battle for second. Schrader trying to take second away from Kyle.
Oh. And we've seen that happen a couple of times today when it didn't come off that easy. Kyle keeps his car right on the bottom of the racetrack. If Schrader's going by, I think he's going to have to do it on the outside. But can he with these tires as fresh as they are? I doubt it.
Schrader has his best run of the year going. He was 4th at Darlington. That's been his best finish so far in 93.
10 laps to go.
Kyle Petty finished 3rd at Bristol. He's now 2nd. And Rusty continues to open up the interval. Now 9 to go.
Rusty just keeps putting a little distance on him all the time.
Rusty looking for his 9th short track win. In the last 6 races, he's been 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 1st, and 1st. Maybe.
Of course, Kyle is 2nd, 3rd is Schrader, 4th is Davey Allison, 5th Darrell Waltrip, 6th is Terry Labonte, 7th Ricky Rudd, Morgan Shepard is 8th, and Sterling Marlin 9th. Those are the 9 cars on the lead lap. Bill Elliott is 1 lap down in 10th position.
Six laps, just 6. I'm telling you, Rusty and these guys and his buddy Parrott and that crew, they have done themselves a job this year so far.
They sure have.
Man. Going to be the new Winston Cup point leader?
Yep.
Even after that flip done in Daytona, the very first race of the year.
Yeah. Forgot about that, but you're right. What a comeback, huh? 396. Are completed when he crossed the line. There it is. 4 to go. Rusty Wallace, if he wins, he will move to 19th on the all-time win list in NASCAR Winston Cup competition, and it will tie him with Joe Weatherly.
Just 3 laps.
Terry Labonte and Ricky Rudd are still battling for position.
That's 6th and 7th.
Rusty will get the white flag next time around.
Kyle Petty is pulled away from Ken Schrader.
Here he comes off the 4th corner. Doyle Ford's got that flag in his hand. He starts waving it.
1 more to go for Rusty Wallace, and he'll win his 24th career NASCAR Winston Cup race, 2nd straight, 3rd this season, and become the new points leader in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Here's the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac off the 4th corner. Rusty raises the hand, and he wins the first Union 400. Here's the battle won by Terry Labonte over Ricky Rudd. And the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac crew celebrates another win. Rusty Wallace headed for victory lane here at North Wilkesboro, and we will be back to talk with him in just a moment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What does it take to be a mountain man? Do you need a big horse? Do you need a deep tan? Do you have to have a saddle? Do you have to have the gear? Well, the simple truth is you just gotta have the beer.
Bush beer, an easy drinking Bush Light. Have you got what it takes to be a mountain man?
What does it take to live a mountain man's life? Get smooth bush berries and drinking bush light.
Why use Valvoline Motor Oil? For their race cars and their own cars, Valvoline is the #1 choice of race mechanics, from Indy 500 to Daytona 500 to NHRA to Baja to SCCA.
You say your eyes are red, irritated, dry? Don't hide them. Help them with Clear Eyes. It gets rid of the redness and has an extra moisturizing ingredient, too. Clear Eyes. And for allergies and colds, Clear Eyes ACR.
The biggest names in sports are on ESPN Radio.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I'll only hold a grudge till I die, is what most of the players say.
I'm closer to 50 than I am to 20. Eating some peanuts, buying hamburgers. You can do it too. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Sports Radio, ESPN.
I want to do radio, baby, and beyond and on.
You're riding with the winner, Rusty Wallace, as he pulls onto the lift that will elevate himself and the car to victory lane here at North Wilkesboro. Rusty has done it again. And just a moment ago, as he did after winning the race at Bristol, in recognition of his longtime friend and the fallen champion from NASCAR Winston Cup Racing in '92, Rusty took a Polish victory lap. Well, while that car is being elevated, let's look at the unofficial results. He beat Kyle Petty, Ken Schrader, Davey Allison, and a good run by Darrell Waltrip. Davey, by the way, started 27th, finished 4th. Second 5, Terry Labonte, Rudd, Morgan Shepherd, Sterling Marlin, and Bill Elliott.
11th through 20th, Ernie Irvin, Jimmy Hensley, Harry Gant, Jimmy Spencer, Kenny Wallace, top rookie today in 15th position.
16th through 20th, Dale Earnhardt, Brett Bodine, Phil Parsons, Rick Mast, and Michael Waltrip. Earnhardt falling out of the point lead.
Dallenbach, Strickland, Wilson, Musgrave, and Labonte, 21 through 25.
And 26 through 30 are Hillen, Means, Jeff Bodine, Hamilton, and Derek Cope.
And the last 4 starters, Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, Dick Trickle, and Jeff Gordon.
Rusty has made his way to victory lane with a big smile on his face.
Come on, get him out. We gotta go.
And here he goes. Rusty climbs out of the car. Here's Jerry.
And they're high-fiving in victory lane. Rusty Wallace, congratulations on your 2nd win in a row.
Thanks a lot. The crew did a wonderful job. You know, we still want to remember Alan for what happened there, you know, but boy, the crew did a wonderful job today, and I got to hand it to them. I talked to Penske last night. Roger said, drive smart, man. Just drive smart. We can win this title. So I tried to drive real smooth today and avoid all the accidents. But this was for the crew. They did a great job in the pit stops today.
Again, great pit stops. And you also just took the point lead over from Dale Earnhardt.
Well, it's going to be a heck of a race, and I don't wish him any bad luck or nothing. And we're just racing hard. And so I'm sure he'll be good at Martinsville next week.
Indeed he will. Here is Buddy Parrott and the crew hugging Rusty Wallace, and they're part of this victory here at North Wilkesboro Speedway.
We'll come back to North Wilkesboro, North Carolina in just a moment and show you the unofficial point standings as Rusty has done it again.
At Yamaha, we've always left the competition in the dust. And now it's time they took a bath. Introducing the Yamaha Pro VXR, the world's leading personal watercraft. When it comes to acceleration, we're flat out better.
For those who like to spend lots of time and effort cleaning, shining, and protecting your tires, this is going to be difficult to watch. Because with no-touch tire care, you don't need to rub or wipe your tires to make them look great. It's true. You just spray it on and leave it alone. No touching. Now, we know it's hard, but you've got to fight it. Come on, you can do it. That's good. No-touch tire care. The best touch is no touch.
We've had Old Blaze for 16 years. I mean, this Old Blaze. My husband uses it for all of his hunting and fishing trips. He and the dog absolutely love that car. Someday, when even AC Delta Parts can't keep it going, We'll just park it out back so he and the dog can sit in it and reminisce.
AC Delco Parts. It's like buying time.
Now through May 15th, get started with up to $14 cash back on Delco Freedom batteries.
Here the quest for the Cup point standings now. After the 7th race, Rusty is on top. The man that made the biggest jump, Kyle Petty, who went from 8th to 4th in the point standings. Our Speed World coverage being brought to you by...
Ooh, fish sticks and peas. Excellent.
At least the bread's safe.
The Cash 5 numbers are drawn Monday during 13 News at 11.
The following is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
Lady, gentlemen, start your engines.
And responding to Yale Giesel's command, 27 Indy cars sit on Shoreline Drive in Long Beach, California, as the engines begin to fire. Normally, the speed limit here is 30 miles an hour, but in a very few moments, they will top 185 miles an hour because the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach is about to begin. Ari Lyondike, along with the rest of the drivers, sit ready to go, and we are ready to go racing in Southern California. Nigel Mansell is prepared and ready to run. Nigel Mansell and Mario Andretti, teammates, friends, and at the moment, the key contenders in the IndyCars. The season's first race saw the reigning Formula One champion run pole to checkered to take his first win in his first race. 2 weeks later, in practice, it was a different picture, as Mansell shattered the Phoenix wall, was hospitalized, and would not race. Mario Andretti was left to carry the team colors. He qualified on the front row and jumped to an early lead, hoping to win the 73-race slump. Then Paul Tracy took over and lapped the entire field twice and then crashed. Emerson Fittipaldi took the lead and crashed. And now, for the first time in 5 years, Mario tasted victory and joyfully took the win and the points lead. The first driver to win in each of 4 decades and the oldest race winner in IndyCar history. Today, it's round number 3 of the PPG IndyCar World Series on the streets of Long Beach. Mario and Nigel have teamed on these streets before when it was a Formula One race, and Mario won. Mario then returned to the IndyCars to win here in '84 on his way to the IndyCar Championship, and again in '85 and '87. But these streets can punish their champions. In '89, Mario led the '88 champ Al Unser Jr., only to be punted aside to make it 2 in a row for Al. Here, the unusual is commonplace, as '86 winner Michael Andretti and Emerson Fittipaldi found out. As did Al Unser Jr., going for his 5th win when he touched with Danny Sullivan. Sullivan went on to take the victory and is back to defend his title in the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. The streets have been cleared. It's a beautiful day, and we're ready for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Hello, I'm Paul Page. There's an electric excitement in the crowd here, and Sam, very definitely an international flavor.
Oh, exactly. 8 out of the top 10 qualifiers were born outside of the United States. The Formula One world champion is in the race. It's gotten to the point where they check your passports instead of your pit passes almost. But a foreigner has never won this race.
But if one could, perhaps it would be Nigel Mansell. But, Bobby, he's in pain.
Paul, he is. As we all know, he had a bad crash at Phoenix. His back is hurting really bad, not healed up completely, complaining about his wrist and hands a little bit. Everybody in the pits is looking today. They know he'll go fast, but can he finish?
All right, Bobby, let's take a look at the starting field here. On the pole with a new track record, it is Nigel Mansell. In the second row, or in the front row alongside, is Paul Tracy, who made his IndyCar debut here 2 years ago. In the second row, Emerson Fittipaldi, twice a runner-up here at Long Beach. And Scott Goodyear, the winner of last year's Michigan 500. In row 3, Stefan Johansson with his best start ever in an IndyCar event. And Mario Andretti, a 3-time champion here. In the fourth row, Teo Fabi, his first effort at Long Beach since 1990. And Al Unser Jr., the only 4-time winner on these streets.
Row 5, Raul Boisel, the runner-up at Phoenix 2 weeks ago, and Eddie Cheever, who finished third in this event in 1991. Now, as we take a look down through the rest of the field, they are already rolling on the parade laps here at Long Beach, California. David Crudrave was originally scheduled to start in the 11th row, but in a warm-up this morning, he had an accident, and the car would not be repaired in time for the start of this race. David Crudrave is otherwise all right. 14 rows, the last car, Jeff Wood, as they now begin to bring their tires up to temperature and their engines ready to go. Bobby Hunter, let's take a look at this course at Long Beach.
Paul, this is one beautiful course, about 1.5 miles around, 8 turns down the front straightaway, almost 190 miles an hour.
So that's the circuit here at Long Beach. The field maneuvering behind the Toyota Supra twin turbo, and now ready to roll into their formation. The race record here, 91 miles an hour. Danny Sullivan, the defending champion from last year. The field now beginning to align. At the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, on the pace lap now, the field beginning to align and looking for a green flag. The third race of the IndyCar season is about to begin with Nigel Mansell on the pole, and already there's a problem as Stefan Johansson touched with another car and sits against the wall. Mansell takes the field down to turn 1, but how will they react to this in terms of yellow flags? They've already slowed it down. Yellow flags wave all around the course. Stefan Johansson touched somebody. He's already out of the car, so thankfully he is all right. But as they came around the very tight hairpin that leads to the pit straight here in the start-finish line, 2 cars got together. We've not yet identified the other, but Stefan Johansson also caught the wall, and look how angry he is. Here's the replay of that situation as they were coming off the corner, Bobby. Just got crowded way to the...
It just got crowded. All it happens is it's so crowded coming off the hairpin turn. Looks like Mario. Yeah, Mario and Stefan touch tires. And you know, especially when they're going that slow, the tires just climb it like they would a rock, climb the other tires.
Stefan had qualified 5th in Tony Bettenhausen's car, so it was a big development in the race.
Here's what it looked like from Al Unser Jr.'s car, that same situation when Stefan Johansson, now apparently we don't have that, as Stefan Johansson got tapped by Mario as they were coming off the turn. It is a very narrow area.
Now, one of the first things people are going to think about is what is this going to do to the mileage? Well, in fact, they're going to count the laps under the yellow. For the other guy, just going to, here's the...
That's from Little Al's car. Now just look ahead. Perhaps we can pick out the 2 cars. They are turning into the hairpin. And on the exit of this corner.
And you can see Stefan was on the right-hand side and came over just a little bit, got way up in the air, almost turned him over, Paul.
So the yellow flags wave all around the circuit. Here the start is aborted, but they will be counting these laps. We'll be right back.
Your hands.
When I hit 100,000 miles, I was driving home from a bat cave where I'd just seen 6 million bats.
I'd say it would be...
When I hit 200,000 miles, I was on my way to a 100th birthday party.
Actually,
Okay, it happened right where the fence starts on the Lamont Bridge.
I don't remember the specific place I was at.
Where were you when your Toyota truck hit 100, 200, 300,000 miles or more? Tell us about it.
I never started really paying attention to mileage till it reached about 400,000.
A twin blade from Bic?
What's in it for me?
I'm a big man. Big man.
This is new? A twin for normal skin and a twin for sensitive, right?
I'm a big man.
I'm a sensitive guy, right?
So I tried it.
Big man!
It's good.
It was great.
Big man.
The new Big Twin Select. Normal, sensitive.
It really blew me away. It made a big man out of me.
I'm a big man. Big man.
The NASCAR racing circuit. It's no place for the timid. That's why Craftsman, and only Craftsman, was chosen the official tool of NASCAR. 1,600 Craftsman hand tools, made in America, guaranteed forever.
You can count on me.
Only at Sears.
Splitfire earned a United States patent. Splitfire doesn't look like any other spark plug. And the patented Splitfire doesn't work like any other spark plug.
5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. Quicker in the quarter mile.
a 4.8% gain in mileage. There's nothing like a split fire. You'll get more power and more mileage, or your money back. Get the guaranteed split fire advantage at leading automotive stores from coast to coast.
The Toyota Grand Prix is brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. By Thompson's Water Seal Waterproofing Formula, the brand to trust for all your waterproofing needs. By Budweiser, the king of beers, with that fresh, pure, natural taste. Nothing beats a Bud. And by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car.
Here at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, Nigel Mansell leads the field single file. They have completed 2 laps. The first 2, they are under yellow. Now, it has been an expensive weekend for a number of teams, not just Stefan Johansson, who just crashed. We had a series of accidents. That's Scott Pruitt as he got into the wall during practice. And then this morning during the warm-up, David Coudray. That's what took that car out of the running, despite the fact it was qualified in the 11th row. And then in practice, Arie Luyendyk. And he got the wall hard. The good news here was that he did have another car available, and perhaps more importantly, that the nose designed to help prevent injuries was working strongly there. Let's go pit side and Gary Gerald.
But Paul, we caught up with Stefan Johansson. Stefan, what happened?
Well, Mario's trying to keep going the outside through the hairpin, and I mean, there's not enough room for 2 cars to go around there. There isn't enough lock on the steering. I mean, you have to use all the road you can to get around the corner. Every car in front did the same, and he's trying to gain places in the first lap, and he's been around long enough to understand that, you know, it's better to get settled down and start the race. And he's shooting me straight in the barrier.
Well, obviously, he's not very happy, Paul. He's making his way back to the Tony Bettenhausen-led pits. Let's check in with Gary Gerald. Gary?
Well, Jack, we're in the Mario Andretti pit. They're happy their driver is still on the course. They're concerned about damage to the car. The only word we have from the crew is that observers around the course are checking for rear wing damage. It does not appear to be anything of a severe nature. So Mario, who won for the first time in better than 4 years 2 weeks ago at Phoenix, still on course, still in the competition here on the streets early at Long Beach.
Remember that last year on the first lap, Mario Andretti was involved in a confrontation on Seaside going into a corner with Eddie Cheever. But it looks that the car is okay, Bobby. I don't see anything obvious on that machine.
No, it really looks good to me, Paul. And Mario is not feeling anything. Otherwise, he would have ducked into pits already, because technically the race has started and they're under the yellow flag now.
From the moment this track opened on Friday, Mario had fire in his eyes. He was out there first, and he got up to speed first. He's really wanted to succeed here today.
3 laps have been completed under yellow. Let's go to Jack Arute.
Paul, there's a new change in IndyCar rules for this race. It is a pit stop rule. When you enter the pits, you will now be enforced a speed limit. Behind me is a radar gun. There are 4 of them located up and down pit road. The drivers will be allowed to only travel pit road at 70 miles per hour. If they go over that, they will be penalized with a stop-and-go penalty. So this is a new twist. We saw it at Indianapolis last year, but this is the first time in regular IndyCar competition for this type of rule.
So now the field, there is that beautiful Toyota Supra twin-turbo pace car, which will now pull clear of the circuit. And they come to the line single file at this moment, trying to give everybody plenty of room as they come off the corner. And Nigel Mansell will lead that field down as he moves toward the inside. And we are ready to go racing again as that green flag comes out. The rest of the field straggles through and heads for the first turn, with Paul Tracy moving ahead of Mansell as they head into turn 1. Then Mansell, then Fittipaldi. Then a bit of a separation as Fittipaldi got on the brakes early coming into the corner. But now Nigel Mansell is chasing Tracy. I asked Rick Mears this morning, what would he tell Paul Tracy about the start of this race? Should he just lay back and wait for Mansell? And Rick said, no, I'm going to tell him to go for it. So he's following his coach's orders perfectly and pulling out some distance on Nigel Mansell. In third, Emerson Fittipaldi now being passed as a terrific battle, developing for third place as well. Scott Goodyear in there as he comes up now behind Mansell, and Scott Goodyear has been having to handle up Emerson Fittipaldi. But Scott Goodyear firmly in control of third place now. They come to Shoreline Drive. There's Scott Goodyear. as he comes onto Shoreline Drive in third place. And here they do get a chance to breathe, a chance to rest. Fittipaldi, then Mario Andretti. So if there were any questions about Mario Andretti's car, it appears to be in fine working order. Here comes Andretti inside of Fittipaldi. Al Unser Jr. closes in behind Fittipaldi as well. Then Teo Fabi in the yellow car. Then Raul Boisel sitting just back a few feet. And already they have to deal with slower traffic. Trying to understand why Marco Greco was in there. He must have ducked in and out of the pits during those early laps. But now they have to deal with the slower car, that number 30 car of Marco Greco. Here comes the challenges. Fittipaldi fighting now with Al Unser Jr. and Teo Fabi looking for position to the out 5. Little Al gets around Fittipaldi. Now Teo Fabi looks for a chance to fight with Emerson Fittipaldi.
Little Al had the fastest speed in warm-up this morning, so he has a setup that is very good for the race itself.
Early battle at the front of the field. Paul Tracy was in front. Then Nigel Mansell, Scott Goodyear, Mario Andretti. Mario has radioed his pits and said that confrontation on the start was not his fault. But I'm sure, Bobby, that's going to be examined to quite some degree.
It's a place on the track where there's always a problem. If one guy doesn't give the other guy just a little bit of breathing room, those kind of things happen to start here because they go through that hairpin just before the start.
You're looking back from Nigel Mansell now as he has Scott Goodyear filling up his rear view mirrors. They come to a key passing area, but Scott Goodyear decides to sit and wait at this point.
And we've always got to remember, Mansell, remember the crash I mentioned. Is he going to pace himself? Now, it would look right now like he's going to pace himself. He's in there for the long haul. Also, when Mansell comes around that hairpin, he just went through. I want everybody to watch. He has a different groove than all of the other cars that are racing here, even the slow ones. But he's been the fastest guy most of the days.
Gary Gerald, an update pit side.
Well, we get a radio conversation. Mansell happy with the way the car is working. He told the crew, don't worry. He, being Tracy, is just using his tires up. So Mansell apparently is happy to run in second at the moment.
Paul Tracy just dusted off the fastest lap of the race at the conclusion of lap 7, 104 miles an hour leading this race. Mansell is now sitting back about 5 seconds with Scott Goodyear all over the back end of Mansell. There you see the battle as second place goes into the corner off of Seaside. There's that corner you were talking about, Bobby.
Yes, and these two Lolas, incidentally, one of them, the one that Mario's driving, or that one right there is Mansell. That one and the one Mario's driving, and Scott Goodyear's cars are different Lolas. The underneath part of them, where the ground effects takes effect, are different. They've done some side designing on their own.
So Nigel Mansell, who was so dominant in Australia, now is chasing Paul Tracy here in Long Beach, California, with Scott Goodyear looking strong behind him. And look at Mario and Al Unser Jr. as they go into the corner side by side. Remember a couple of years ago when they didn't get through there quite that smoothly. But little Al now moves around Mario Andretti and picks up 4th place.
Mario not quite as aggressive in defending his position there as we have seen him in the past. Whether he's chagrined by what happened with Johansson or thinking back to his connection with Little Al 2 years ago that you mentioned, I don't know, but he backed off there.
It's too early in the race, Sam, to have a contest like that, isn't it?
Yep, I'm glad they came out of it.
And Al Unser Jr. firmly in control now of 4th place. Mario seems to have settled back. They all must be concerned about fuel economy here, despite the fact that they ran the first laps of the race under yellow. Danny Sullivan, the 7 car, as he comes around the corner in pursuit of Fittipaldi. Just in front of him, Teo Fabi and Bobby Rahal. So 4 cars there in a solid battle now. And it is a fight for 7th place. Just ahead of them is Robbie Gordon. Take a look at Danny Sullivan. And look, here was a car that he had a great deal of trouble with at Phoenix, but Danny Sullivan now surging forward and around Fittipaldi. A good look at the rest of this field coming through. On board Danny Sullivan now. Again, a car that has not performed as well as they would have liked. They've had trouble getting this operation together at Gallus Racing, both for Little Al and Danny, and then they seem to have a breakthrough yesterday. Robbie Gordon, Bobby Rahal, Teo Fabi.
Oh, there's a few of the teams that have not figured out the Lola chassis, the new Lola chassis, the 93s. The Gallus team was one of them, but their big breakthrough, ironically, came after yesterday. They made some changes last night. Both of the cars, Little Al and Sullivan, are going much better today.
Well, they got their cars late among the leaders.
Robbie Gordon with Rahal making a move, but Gordon darts to the inside and slows down. During practice, he had a problem with fifth gear. This gives TLC-VB an opportunity to charge at the back of Rahal, and around comes Sullivan as well.
Well, you can see Rahal just pull over to the inside, blocking the other guys going into that turn, trying to protect his position there, Paul.
But what happened to Robbie Gordon? He pulls to the side on the straight and then seems to come back up to speed.
Here's the view from behind Rahal's car. You can see Bobby falling back. Here they come, Rahal on the bottom of the screen with Bobby in the yellow car.
No contest as they come off of Seaside and turn back, making that final left-hand turn toward the hairpin. Sullivan closing on the Pennzoil car. That belongs to TLC-VB. They come onto the straight. Tremendous acceleration at this point.
You notice how Danny Sullivan is really staying in line. He's getting all the draft he can get, trying to get a run right there. Now, he almost made that pass. He didn't make it quite, but he used the draft all the way down that straightaway, then whipped it out right at the very last. And boy, you could really see it on the onboard cam.
So Sullivan tries to make a move on TLC-VB, can't get it done. Paul Tracy continues to lead this run. Nigel Mansell continues to run in second. Paul Tracy in that 12 car. Look at the lead that he has. We'll be back.
I was right behind him when he started to spin. I know the feeling, nowhere to go, right?
Two champions sharing a winning formula. Haviland, Formula 3.
Very unpleasant on an oval, I'd think. Some people just can't get it right. Even at Indy? Oh, especially at Indy.
Complete professionals who rely on the same complete protection you can buy right off the shelf. Haviland Formula 3 motor oil from Texaco.
Perhaps I should follow you then. Not a bad idea, Nigel.
Dear Thompsons, anticipating spring rains, I treated my redwood lawn furniture with Thompson's Water Seal waterproofer.
Honey?
My brother-in-law Lewis used a different brand on his redwood gates. Then the rains came. After the most intense rain in almost 100 years, my furniture was like new. His gates actually swell shut. Thompson's has no match. Sincerely, Lowell Salzer.
Now from Thompson's, a set of 8-inch neon Stanley screwdrivers. A $2.99 value, free by mail with any Thompson's purchase.
Oh, that was wonderful.
I have to see it. If a movie got great reviews, you'd go see it, wouldn't you?
Absolutely fantastic.
If everyone kept talking about a book, you'd probably read it.
It was brilliant.
And if Automobile Magazine called this Toyota Camry the best car built in America, you'd give it a test drive, right? The 1993 Toyota Camry. Everything you've heard is true.
We thought we'd been everywhere, seen everything. We were wrong.
We're bad to the bone. We're bad to the bone.
These guys were weird, and we liked it. Later, they took us to the Tower of Bud. Brother, tomorrow we ride again.
Hits just keep on coming. The NHL Stanley Cup playoffs roll on with regional action next Sunday on ABC Sports.
Back at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, watching Emerson Fittipaldi. His teammate Paul Tracy leads this run. Fittipaldi started third, is now in 20th, and is only about 7 seconds from being lapped. Let's get an update on what his problem might be from Jack Arute.
And Paulie continues to lose almost 6 seconds a lap. The reason? He is down on boost. Not just a little, a severe boost problem. In fact, the team says that they are very concerned. They are going to try and change wastegates, Bobby Unser, in the first pit stop. It doesn't look like it's going to be Emerson Fittipaldi's day.
Well, you know, Paul, that's going to be a hard one. Those things are running like 1,800 degrees temperature. That's almost white hot. So the guys will have to cool it the best they can, and then the threads won't work on the nuts very well on getting it off. So that's going to be a job and a half.
As they come through the hairpin onto Shoreline, a tremendous battle here. Eddie Cheever, Bobby Rahal, TLC-VB, and Danny Sullivan. You're looking back from Rahal's car right now.
You know, Fabi began racing in IndyCar racing 10 years ago, and I asked him what was different about it, and he gave me some interesting. Here he is. He's defending his line there against Sullivan. The thing he said was the pace is so much hotter than it was 10 years ago, and if this isn't evidence of that idea, I don't know what is.
Oh, I love this fight. Let's look at Fabi try a different line behind Ray Hall as they all have to move around Lynn St. James.
You call that blocking. You know, you're seeing more of that today than you ever used to see. You watch his tail. Fabi went down into this turn halfway or fourth of the way down the straightaway. He already started blocking to prevent getting past. Sometimes the officials have to take a set on that.
All three of these men are having their best race of the year so far. Each of them has had trouble coming up to here. Each of them has improvements within the team, and they're having a great run today.
Back once again onto the straightaway. Let's just listen to the gear changes here. On board with Bobby Rahal. As they come down to that first turn again, Sullivan looking for room inside of tail Fabi. Can't get it done.
Now you can see Fabi was over there so far there was nothing left to pass in on the inside. If Sullivan's going to pass him, he's going to have to get him to stay there and go on the outside. And that noise we're hearing in the engine, Paul, that is over 13,000 RPM.
Eddie Cheever, well ahead of this battle, rides in 7th place now. Ahead of him is Raul Boisel. But this fight continues, and there goes Teo Fabi as he gets around Ray Hall. And now Danny Sullivan's going to try it to the outside as they come into the hairpin, and Sullivan gets around.
Boy, now that's a hard place to pass on the outside.
Roberto Guerrero, he comes around Bobby Rahal. Rahal recognizes he's slow now and comes offline.
Rahal's got a problem, Paul, because it's too hard to pass there on the outside. So he's got to have a problem.
And now Bobby Rahal in the pits. Jack Arut's right there.
And Paul, Bobby Rahal does indeed have a problem. He was complaining that he had a tire going down, so they're going to change all 4, and then they're going to send him back out. That accounts for all those passes in that last lap. Now he's having trouble getting it back in gear. A long stop when he's off the way.
17 seconds, and Bobby Rahal back into the fight, but he's fallen further backward through the field.
This is an interim car for his team, but they would have hoped to be able to score some points before mid-season when they're able to introduce their new car. So far, they've had only a 6th place in Australia, to their credit.
Paul Tracy is still the leader, pursued by Nigel Mansell and Scott Goodyear. Danny Sullivan, you're on board with him now. He rides in 7th.
You know, with Rahal's early pit stop, ironically, he's about...
This is that pass, Danny Sullivan inside of Teo Fabi, Bobby.
This time he got in there where Teo couldn't get down on him. But I started to mention Rahal came in at lap 18, Paul. That's 2 laps less than the window. So he's really in trouble pit stop wise, or it's really going to knock him out of competition.
Already sent his race to an extra pit stop, which could be very costly here. A couple of things as we watch Danny Sullivan to remind you of that could be a key factor toward the end of this race. There's Emerson Fittipaldi in as they go to work, taking the cowling off of the car, and as Jack had indicated, they're going to try to change the wastegate on the turbo, which has a pretty high surface temperature. It's going to be a hard job, Bobby.
Oh, it's going to be a desperate job. But, you know, Roger Penske's theory is we came to race. We're going to race no matter what it takes. And if they had to work on that car for 3/4 of the race, Penske would still have him go back out. And you have to admire him for that.
So they go to work on Fittipaldi's car as Al Unser Jr. goes to work on Scott Brayton. Al Unser Jr. running in 3rd place and trying to stay in contact with Scott Goodyear just ahead of him.
4th place for Little Al coming up to, that's a lap he's putting on Scott Brayton.
Scott Brayton back in the field runs in 22nd place right now.
And if you look at the driver and you think that they're trying awfully hard this early in the race to do their passing or to get their position, it's because they want to do it when their tires are really fresh. And so as you watch on board Little Al, he's really hustling hard right now.
And we're only on the 20th lap of 105 scheduled, and already they're fighting their way through traffic.
This represents a complete rejuvenation of the Gallus team. You see it being led there by Little Al, but Sullivan is having such a great run, and this is the first time in several races these guys have been moving up as the race develops.
Jack Arut's keeping track of things in the Penske pit. Jack?
Well, Paul, the work continues behind me out on pit road on Emerson Fittipaldi's wastegate problem. But look over my shoulder here. That's where they're getting the wastegate from, the spare car that's about 100 yards away. So then they'll sprint forward with it, and as Bobby Unser said, it's a hot potato coming off, but at least they'll have a cool one going on.
A very long pit stop for Emerson Fittipaldi as we take a look at Eddie Cheever battling with Roberto Guerrero. It is a battle now for 8th place. Cheever currently occupies it.
Cheever is a specialist at these road courses that run through cities. He was second at the Detroit Grand Prix. He's been outstanding here through the years, but now you see Roberto Guerrero outbraking him. Cheever locks it up and tucks in behind.
Eddie Cheever gave it every opportunity that he had, but he could not hold on to those brakes, and now he has TLC-VB to deal with.
That's what I was going to say, Paul. He got in there as deep as he could. He doesn't have to apologize to anybody for that. When you see the tires start smoking like that going in, the guy can't do any more than that.
And right behind the Pennzoil car, TLC-VB there, is Adrian Fernandez, new member of the Gallus team in his first run.
Yes, and Adrian's doing pretty good. You know, he came out of the Firestone Indy Lights last year. It was a very good driver and a constant winner in that.
Got Brayton sitting by the edge of the roadway there in a very precarious position. That'll bring out a local yellow in that area and the very real possibility of a yellow all the way around the circuit. Looks like the fire has gone out in Brayton's car, and they'll have to get, there's the IndyCar safety team out saying, what do you want us to do? What's going on here? And Scott Brayton is going to climb out of the car. So out will come the record. We just mentioned Adrian Fernandez. He's a teammate of Al Unser Jr., and he's pulled it off the course behind some of the protective tire walls here. So his day and his first start here with the Gallus team, not as strong as it could be. In the Penske pit, they continue to work on Fittipaldi's car while his teammate is running at the front of the field. Nigel Mansell is second. Scott Goodyear is third. We'll be back after this message and a word from your ABC station.
When it's this hot, don't take chances. Only Armor All Protectant guarantees your new car's dash from cracking. There is a fountain of youth, and we guarantee it. Armor All.
Chunky is chunkier. Thick is thicker. Ortega's thicker, chunkier salsa. It's Mex to the max.
Sunday, a world television premiere. America's Queen of Comedy takes on the King.
Personal friends with the King, were you?
I'd like to continue Elvis's work.
You look as good as you did the day we met.
It's Roseanne, Tom, and of course the King, the woman who loved Elvis, Sunday.
Exclusive only price policy has streamlined the car buying process. Listen to our customers.
I was able to go in one price and be able to go home with exactly what I want that day.
We were in and out of there with a new vehicle within hours.
I think the whole concept took about 20 minutes.
I mean, if you like haggling, then go buy a car somewhere else. If you want to go in and get a good deal, have a good time doing it, then go buy one at Hall.
Come see for yourself what car buying should be. Today at all 8 Hall locations.
Much as we like cars at Twin B, cleaning tires is a job nobody likes. So we make it easy with no-touch tire care. On sale now at Twin B. No-touch cleans, shines, and protects your tires with no rubbing, no scrubbing, and no buffing. This stuff really works. Come into your neighborhood Twin B store and check it out. Make cleaning and shining your tires the easiest part of the job with no touch.
Twin B, more than parts, smarts. Spirit of Hampton Road.
During the week at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, they'll race anything. Pinewood Derby cars, you name it. They've had a great time with all the race fans and a record crowd here today. This is a terrific battle between Al Unser Jr. and Scott Goodyear for third. But the two key places on the track, as we look at the interval leaderboard here with 25 laps complete, the two key passing areas, the turn off of Seaside that they've just come through, and the Toyota turn number 1, have both had yellows for disabled vehicles. Now, they were getting Scott Brayton clear of 1, And it looks like Al Unser Jr. is just waiting for one of those corners to come clear so he can re-engage Scott Goodyear.
Yeah, and unfortunately what we can't, or what a lot of the people can't see, is this entire front straightaway, which is nearly 190 miles an hour, is all under yellow. So there's no sense in Little Al, for example, following Scott Goodyear to get in too much of a hurry, because it's illegal to pass right now until they get that car moved off the track.
You know something, you just confirmed something I've always believed. There's some serious damage there on Marco Greco's car. But as look at the work they're doing, they've got the whole back of the gearbox off and going to work on his car. As we came down the main straightaway, I saw a couple of yellow flags, Bobby, from the onboard camera, which just proves that you never see them anyway.
Well, that's about right, you know. Today they told Jack Arute they're going to move the yellow flags back 2 stations. Well, you're talking about the entire front straightaway now that they can't pass on.
But look at Al Unser Jr. now as he's closed up behind third place Scott Goodyear.
Well, obviously, both these men know that the minute the yellows come in, their battle is going to resume full tilt. The best Scott Goodyear has ever done in this race is a 5th last year. The best Al Unser Jr. has ever done is 1st, and he won 4 in a row. So that gives you some idea of the relative experience here. And Al Unser right now looks like the hunter.
Ari Leyendyke, he runs 16th. Buddy Lazier should be just ahead of him. Occasionally you catch a view of the Lazier car.
Remember, we saw Ari's crash just back of where we are here now on the track in practice yesterday. He's shaken that off, but he is not having a great season. Many expected a good deal more of him in this car than he's been able to show so far.
Still flags out in the turnoff of Seaside.
You know, Leyendyke right there in the Scotch car, there's a team that has Mo Nunn. I think is one of the best engineers in all of IndyCar racing. Came over from England, and he's not been able to figure out the Lola this year. Leyendyke, of course, is a very good driver, but they have been somewhat like the Gallus team, unable to figure out the new Lola chassis, although it looks like Gallus team has got it figured out today.
Yeah, because mechanically they have the same thing that Nigel Mansell's got. They're just not getting the same speed out of it.
And just behind that battle that we just saw, here is that ongoing battle now between Scott Goodyear and Al Unser Jr. in a fight for 3rd place. And you can see Emerson Fittipaldi, by the way, from time to time ahead. 2 minutes and 36 seconds in the pits. They make the change on the car, and now it seems to be running with full boost, though he's about 4.5 laps behind the race.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part of it. 4.5 laps back. Emil may be fast, but it's kind of like he's not going to have a defeatist attitude, but only because Roger Penske is the boss and he says race.
Now that MyJack car there, that's Robbie Buell, who is sandwiched in between these two battlers for the 3rd position. Buell actually running 17th. So he gets out of the way and lets Al Unser Jr. come by. Now Little Al should not be able to close in on Goodyear by the Toyota turn number 1 here. But by the time they get to Seaside, it seems like they are going to be right on top of one another.
Now, it looks like the track right there in that turn 1, Paul, is back to green again. They've got the car moved. So that means we're going to start seeing some passing at the end of the long straightaway, which is one of the better places to pass on this track. On board with Little Al. There's slower traffic ahead and the chance for Little Al to make a pass as they come to the end of this straightaway and make that right-hand turn. Little Al can't do it. He gets caught behind Ari Leyendyke. He has to move to the inside. He continues his pursuit of
There he is, taking Ari on the outside. Remember, when you ride with Little Al like this, you're riding with a 4-time winner and a man who is thinking not so much that he's getting through these guys, but that he's got to worry about Mansell and Tracy out in front of him running 2 and 1 respectively.
The view from the Goodyear blimp over the track here. They scream down toward turn 1. They start down through the gears. There are slower cars ahead. And still Little Al can't get it done. You know, and as we watch, Little Al's in a Chevrolet. The car on the right-hand side, the blue car just ahead of him, that's a Ford-powered car. I think one of the things we're going to be watching all year is Ford against Chevrolet. Chevrolet against Ford. And as we watch the blimp shot from the Goodyear blimp, you can really see that. Look at this. You can really see what happens to the engines, just the engines. Horsepower down the straightaways. This view gives you a tremendous opportunity to study the different rates of closures. They both move around Buddy Lazier in the Viper car, and now Al Unser Jr. gets back in contact as they come to the hairpin, and they should have a fairly open straightaway ahead of them if only Little Al can gain enough revs as he comes down the straightaway to get on the back end of Scott Goodyear's car. Yes, he needs to get a little bit closer to get a good draft. Even though these cars are so streamlined, so aerodynamic, they still need a little help for drafting. Listen to the gears. on Seaside, the battle now develops here between Eddie Cheever and Robbie Gordon. It's a battle for 9th place. Al Unser Jr. for the moment broken off in his fight with Scott Goodyear. This is the hottest battle on the circuit. Right behind Gordon, Teo Fabi and Scott Pruitt. Just got a glimpse of Paul Tracy in car 12, the leader of the race.
We'll watch Robbie Gordon come off of that hairpin turn with a rear end hanging out. That kid is really trying hard.
Whatever was ailing his car earlier no longer affects it because he's staying hot in the fight. Bobby continues to try to attack him. Let's get an update on what may have been Robbie's situation earlier from Gary Gerald.
Paul, we got a quick word with A.J. Foyt. They had problems with their transmission earlier this weekend. They think they've got difficulty with 5th gear, but they can't confirm it because they've lost radio communication. So double problems. They think it's the transmission that felt Gordon to fall back just a bit.
Mentioned earlier that 5th gear was a problem for him during practice earlier in the week.
But you know, Gary and Paul, I watched him come off the hairpin turn this morning and the car just stopped, literally stopped on the racetrack. So I just wonder if they don't have some sort of an electronic problem in the computer system somewhere.
Boy, look at that crowd as they come through the hairpin turn and back onto Shoreline. Got Pruitt there in the 45 car. There's Mark Smith, who is having a great run in the IndyCars this year, though every time you see that 25 car, know that he was in an accident this week. No, not in the IndyCar, but in his go-kart, and really racked up his left leg. And boy, was he in pain yesterday. He's hoping to be able to make the run without any trouble. On board with 2nd place, Nigel Mansell, as he continues his pursuit of Paul Tracy.
So, how do you spend your weekends? Mowing the grass? Watching the games on TV? Or maybe something a little less ambitious? We spend hours at the racetrack testing new innovations, developing new technology to make the Toyota you buy perform as well as it possibly can. After all, we wouldn't want you to lose any sleep over it.
Genuine Drafts 1992 IndyCar champion Bobby Rahal. When we said he was flying, we weren't lying.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Red balls of fire! You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Much love drive a man insane. You broke my will, what a thrill. Driven this race of red balls of fire.
Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug.
The John Deere 14PZ walk-behind mower has a 5-horse engine that breezes through thick grass. A rugged, lightweight cast aluminum deck. Easy starting. A 30-day money-back guarantee. And over 40 other features you'd expect from a John Deere mower. Plus something you probably didn't expect. A list price of just $349. Which means that, for once in your life, you can get more than you bargained for.
U.S. Olympic hero Shannon Miller goes for the all-around gold at the biggest gymnastics event of the year, the World Gymnastics Championships, Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Back at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach as Paul Tracy, the leader, has shredded his left rear tire and is limping for the pits. Nigel Mansell will take over the lead of the race. Jack Arut's right there.
And Paul, this is 7 laps earlier than they had hoped to bring the car on pit road. He skids to the stop, and look at the condition of the tire. Jerry Breon pulls it off and puts it back on. This is unfortunate because part of the problem was they had fuel mileage problems in Australia. They had solved them, and in talking to Richard Buck, and now they've stalled the car, he said that this was going to work in their favor, that caution early on, and they were stockpiling fuel mileage. That's all gone away now.
19 seconds in and out for Paul Tracy, but he fell well down through the order. Now in 6th place as Nigel Mansell assumes the lead.
When he ran into trouble, he had an 8.5-second lead over Mansell, who you see here. Now Tracy has led 57% of the laps this year going into this race. You see what happened to him here. the left rear tire of Paul Tracy shredding suddenly. That's the back straightaway there. He was lucky or very skillful to control the car and bring it into the pits as fast as he did.
Well, the whole trick, Sam, is going to be, why did it shred? Why did it go bad? Tires don't just blow on their own. So there's a good chance, and that's what we'll have to watch for. They might have bent something while he was blowing or shredding that tire up.
So Nigel Mansell now sits in the lead, nearly 7 seconds ahead of Al Unser Jr. 7 seconds further back from that is Scott Goodyear, and then Mario Andretti is unchallenged, another 10 seconds further back from Goodyear. Look at the interval here. We keep track of Mansell and Al Unser Jr. first and second place, and of course as they come to the pit stops, that interval will be critical.
And also keep in mind, Paul Tracy came in with that blown left rear tire, but it won't make any difference because he was well within the time frame that he would have stopped for fuel normally. So these guys, even though they have a bigger gap on Tracy now, as soon as they pit, it'll all go back to normal again. And his pit stop was only longer because he killed the engine.
Word from the Penske team is that Paul Tracy ran over some debris that shredded the tire. Terrible luck. He was so strong here just as he was at Phoenix. This time, though, debris gets him. As we take a look at Mansell continuing to thread his way through this field. And he is having, as one might expect, some trouble from time to time figuring out the slower traffic that he must move through. In some cases, there are drivers that he is not familiar with, and sometimes he just has to be very, very careful and hope that they move out of the way.
Yes, but Mansell has studied IndyCar racing very carefully in the last few months, and he knows a lot about who has done what over the years here, and he must be fully aware that he's got the great master of Long Beach currently closing in on him. I mean, little Al has won this thing 4 times. He knows how to pace himself and his tires through a race like this, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Mansell keys off the man behind him rather than wondering about his own pace.
Part of his studies, by the way, for IndyCar racing is Jimmy Vasser has a problem. They're trying to get him rolling again. He had a little fire and they brought it in the pits, but now on the pit road he's got a problem again.
Vasser, you'll remember, was 3rd just 2 weeks ago in Phoenix, so this is a great disappointment. He would like to have performed well here in front of the LA audience.
I was going to say the way that Mansell studied Scott Pruitt in the pits was by looking at videotapes of every race, including every onboard camera he could get his hands on. He's really gone to school on IndyCar racing.
And that's good that he did that, and it shows the amount of interest Paul back. He doesn't realize or doesn't know until he runs with them, but these guys' personalities change often through different types of tracks.
Raul Boesel makes his stop. He was running 8th just prior to coming into the pits.
He was, of course, 2nd at Phoenix 2 weeks ago, and one of the quiet men of racing, a real accomplished guy, though.
But what a great race driver he is. Tremendously agile in almost any kind of race car.
And this is lap
NASCAR champion.
This is lap 39 when all the cars, there's Robbie Gordon in, all the cars are going to have to be coming in the pit. None of them should be able to go past 40 laps.
They look over the back of that car while they refuel it and change tires. No obvious work other than the routine maintenance being done on Robbie Gordon's car. So his first stop here at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach is complete.
It takes a long time to fuel them. It looked like a slow pit stop. Really, it wasn't. It's just that the cars right now at 40 laps are really just about empty.
18.5 seconds, long stop. Danny Sullivan is in now. Sullivan was running in 5th place prior to this stop. And they expect his teammate Al Unser Jr. to come in next time around. So they bring Sullivan in first, get it cleared so this man, little Al, can make the turn in.
And also remember, Paul, that the telemetry that tells the pits when the guys really need fuel. Here's little Al in now.
So Al Unser Jr. comes in for a stop, Jack.
And Paul, this is a scheduled pit stop. They're trying to extend their fuel mileage window. They will change tires, and now it falls off the jack for a second. The air hose not going in properly. They are going to exchange tires, fill it with fuel. They radioed to Al Unser Jr. about 7 laps ago that he could go ahead and turn things up a bit. That means he could expend a little bit more fuel mileage, but he's away. Remember, though, there is a pit speed limit here, and a lot of the drivers are getting real close to violating it.
Well, of course, that's a contest, isn't it?
As they come out of the pits, there is a battle for third place, as Scott Goodyear is sitting just ahead of Al Unser Jr. and may not be fully aware of it. As they come into traffic, Emerson Fittipaldi slides in between them. Nigel Mansell and Mario Andretti have not yet stopped. They have completed 41 laps and run first and second as Roberto Guerrero makes his stop. Guerrero was running 7th as he came into the pits, and he rolls back into the fight. But now here is Nigel Mansell making his first stop. Gary Gerald is right there.
Tommy Wirtz, who'll be working the left front. The chief mechanic waves into a stop. The quiet man hits the mark perfectly. He said very little on the radio. He thanked his crew as the race got started for getting him ready to go. He's had little to say since. A quick drink, no wing changes up front, everything looking routine. Mansell off the jacks. We've got him under 15 seconds on this stop.
If you look at the cars leaving, Paul, all that water or that liquid coming off there is actually the water that's squirting on there in case they spill any fuel to dilute the fuel so it doesn't catch fire. So it's water that the people are seeing.
Running in second place at the time he came in, Mario Andretti, Nigel's teammate, in and out of the pits, completing his first stop.
Before the pit stops, Mansell had a 5-second lead over Al Unser Jr., but that margin was being eroded slightly lap after lap. We'll see now with the fuel in the car, the new tires, exactly what the gap will be when it stabilizes.
You watch Mario leave and you saw the stickers on his tires there. That's a rare thing during a pit stop. That's a rare thing on the pit stop because he left the pits with a left front tire with a brand new one. Usually they seat these tires in during the practice sessions.
Nigel Mansell still coming out trying to heat his tires up. You saw Scott Goodyear maneuver into position around him, and Al Unser Jr. is just behind him now as they scream for the line on the pit straight shoreline drive here. And Paul Tracy has been in and out, of course, with that tire and got in and out early, and that puts him in the lead of the race with Scott Goodyear sitting in second place just ahead of Mansell. There comes Scott Goodyear through as we look at Bobby. There is Tracy. Scott Goodyear is right behind him right now, and Mansell is just behind Goodyear.
Now that shows that Paul Tracy in the 12th car, Goodyear right behind him. It shows that the pit stop with the blown tire really didn't hurt him.
Well, Mansell's fallen back just a little bit now off of Goodyear. There he is coming through. Paul Tracy at the head of this field, and Scott Goodyear, these two fellow Canadians, now stalking him. We'll be back.
Start a project with Minwax Wood Finish and turn new into treasured, ordinary into extraordinary, even pine into cherry. Because Minwax Wood Finish makes it easy to turn any project into a beautiful masterpiece. Minwax makes wood beautiful.
Just in time for National Woodworking Month, Minwax introduces Wood Beautiful, an exciting new magazine devoted to decorating with wood. Make your home more beautiful. Get your free magazine. Call 1-800-44-STAIN.
She's an 83 with over 140,000 on-road and off-road miles. I must be in and out of it 150 times a day. It's a wonder the doors don't fall off. Only trouble was, when the pig charged, it caved in my door. I only use AC Delco. Cheaper parts can cost you a powerful lot. Of course, so can pigs.
AC Delco parts. It's like buying time.
In IndyCar racing, when it rains, we don't race on super speedways. But we're running this IndyCar on Goodyear Eagles to prove a point about wet traction, cornering, and stopping. What's the point? These are not Goodyear Racing Eagles. They're Eagle GSC street radials with dual tread design for outstanding traction in the dry and in the wet. Eagle GSC street radials only from Goodyear. We like to say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Back at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, Paul Tracy now being hotly pursued by Scott Goodyear. Nigel Mansell sits in third, but he is a good 3 seconds back. There you see the interval as they come into a very crowded corner. And Paul Tracy coming up behind Teo Fabi, currently running in 10th place. You're looking down. These great aerial pictures are courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Eagle, which is based in nearby Carson. There she is overhead. Today's pilot is Charles Russell. Paul Tracy, the leader, despite having problems early on.
Remember, we are looking at first and second place, 2 young Canadian drivers.
Going right by Teo Fabi, right there. Teo got lapped by those guys. And Scott Goodyear's in the blue car right behind. And as they come off the turns, the hairpin, which you're going into right now, watch the straightaway speeds.
I was on a plane with Scott Goodyear the other day. He was so frazzled he was late for a sponsors meeting. When he gets in the race car, though, he's one of the calmest of all. And those who monitor the radios, you see him tear by Teo Fabi, who lets him by on the inside there and thinks of counterattacking. But once Goodyear is in the car, he becomes utterly calm, speaks very clearly to his crew chief, Derek Walker.
Here was Al Unser Jr. as he tried to get around Nigel Mansell just a few moments ago. Locked the brakes, almost went off in the runoff zone, got it back under control. Same situation, Bobby, your nephew.
Yes, well, there's the 2 guys. Here's a Earnhardt cam shot. There's 2 guys right there that have capabilities of driving deeper in the turns, and I think any other driver, little Al momentarily locked his front tire. He almost didn't make it, but those 2 guys, it's like 2 big bull elephants hitting each other head on.
Danny Sullivan was one of the first to break that pit stop speed limit, and they gave him a stop-and-go penalty. And he came in, and then he broke the speed limit again, so they're giving him the black flag again for another stop-and-go. Here's Paul Tracy, the leader of the race, but not by a very wide margin. About a second. Scott Goodyear is behind him and looking for every chance he can.
Tracy looks like he's just a little bit loose in the rear end right now. I watch him as he comes off some of the turns. The rear end twitches just a little bit. Now, that isn't good because the tires will only get hotter quicker that way, Paul.
And that is a little bit of Tracy's style, isn't it, Bobby? I mean, he has a very aggressive style. When the car begins to slide, he corrects into the slide. I think he likes to drive a car that way, even if it means heating up the tires a little.
Sam, he'll set the car up that way. But if somebody pushes him hard, it just makes the old rear tires get hotter quicker.
Yep.
Paul Tracy looking for a victory. Once he scores his first, I personally think, Sam, he's going to be unstoppable.
Well, there's a big psychological thing in racing. It's very hard to win your first race. And then suddenly, in a way, when you realize that it can be easy. 2 weeks ago at Phoenix, Paul Tracy was 2 laps ahead. He probably could have cruised home to a victory very easily. Instead, he wound up in a collision with another car. Surely, he's benefited from that experience.
Lynn St. James, the number 90 J.C. Penney car, comes in for a stop.
Not a happy weekend for her. She qualified next to last. Has not really found the speed here that you would expect out of the car and engine combination that she has.
She runs 21st. This is actually her first stop of the race, and she was able to carry that stop to lap 45.
It's a tough track. It's a hard track to come here your first year and do well at it. So I think Lynn's doing well considering everything, and she'll certainly do better next year.
Looking at the race summary at the conclusion of 49 laps. Paul Tracy, the leader of the race, averaging 93 miles an hour. Scott Brayton, the only one officially out at the moment.
You know, at Phoenix 2 weeks ago, luck in many ways was the story of the race. Mario inheriting the race from back in 6th place. Paul Tracy, as you see Nigel Mansell come up very close to Fabi. Paul Tracy, in a way, has luck looking over his shoulder right now. Wouldn't you guys say? Because when he shredded that tire, he was close to the pits. Yes, he used skill in controlling the thing, but if that had happened out at the first turn and he'd had to make the whole lap with that shredded tire, he wouldn't be in the lead right now.
2 great battles underway as Tracy closes on Goodyear, and here Al Unser Jr. is closing on Nigel Mansell, and Mansell is not showing the kind of attack in the corners he has earlier. Bobby, could he be fatiguing in that car?
Well, he could be getting tired, that's for certain sure. We expect that that's going to happen. This Long Beach track is one of the, look at how little Al is working around here. Now that was at the hairpin. Nigel is the only one that does a different group to that. Watch Nigel, anytime we see it on camera that he gets into that hairpin. Total different group than anybody else, might be the Lau's advantage.
Closing rate at a half a second a lap on Nigel Mansell by Al Unser Jr. And we said that that speed limit might affect the outcome of this race. Now they're reporting that they're going to black flag Scott Goodyear for exceeding the speed limit in the pit, so we'll look for that flag as well.
Those kind of speed limits in the pit are tough on the drivers. These guys are so keyed up come race day, they're wired for going fast. Then all of a sudden when they're told to go fast in the pits, it's very difficult. And even though it's necessary to do, it's very definitely hard on them, Paul.
So if in fact they black flag Scott Goodyear, that won't give Paul Tracy much breathing room at all, because Nigel Mansell is just 3 seconds back. Jack Arute, you have an update?
Yes, Paul. Scott Goodyear exceeded the speed limit entering his pit area. That's the reason for the stop and go. An update on the discussion as well as he undergoes the penalty. At the drivers' meeting, it was originally suggested the speed limit be placed at 90 miles an hour. That was agreed to by the IndyCar officials, car owners, and mechanics. The drivers lobbied and succeeded in getting the limit lowered to 70. Now you see what's happened.
Scott Goodyear fell to 4th place on that stop-and-go penalty and still has to come up to speed as Mario Andretti comes up behind him, and that makes this a fight for position. So Mario Andretti has the car that he needs to pass in front of him to get into 4th place, and Scott Goodyear, of course, is on fresh tires, while Mario Andretti's are up to full operating temperature.
Both Lola Fords. Both Lola Fords and the one right behind, same thing.
In previous years here, before they reconfigured the track, the winner often enjoyed a big margin at the end of the race. Now, the last 3 years, the margin has been 1.7 seconds, 3.8, and last year, just 0.6 of a second. So the reconfiguring of this great, historic Long Beach track has made a terrific difference. Here comes Little Al down the outside.
Al Unser Jr. looking for room.
Whoa!
Comes around to the inside, kind of tries to fake Mansell to one side, and he touches him. He touches Mansell, and you see the suspension drop on the back of Mansell's car. It looks like there is damage there.
A Little Al's car. The left front is bent. He's out of the race. Just a little touch like that sometimes bends him completely. That's the same place the Little Al touched Mario Andretti a couple of years ago. Same turn.
And an ongoing fight for second place there. Now Paul Tracy does have some breathing room, especially as we have to keep watch on Mansell's car. Little Al climbs out of the car, obviously not injured, but there's damage there. Nigel Mansell may also have damage. We look at it again. Here they come into the corner. Little Al looking for room. He set him up on this. They get together. It's hard to believe that Mansell's car doesn't have a problem too.
Well, it's on the rear. The rear's a lot stronger than the front, Paul. And the thing about it was that Little Al should have known that Mansell can't see him. That's in that blind spot of the cars, and Mansell had to be looking to the left. Little Al could have passed him on the outside. The road is just not wide enough.
Well, if it's going to affect Nigel, it hasn't appeared yet. Look at the way that lower control arm, to keep an eye on that, might be a slight bend to that on Nigel Mansell's car. So Paul Tracy is out in front of this run. Now Nigel Mansell is up into second place, and Scott Goodyear comes back up to third place, while Mario Andretti sits in fourth. Boycell is fifth. We'll be back after this message and a word from your ABC station.
King of beers.
This is your life, and not a bad one at that. You find the things that work for you, and you stick with them. Like your Toyota Extra Cab Deluxe. It has the power and the payload you need. Plus the reputation for dependability, that's a well-known fact. All the signs of a great relationship.
The critics are talking about tonight's new lineup.
Stupid!
First, America's Funniest Home Videos.
Ooh, good one!
Followed by Dinosaurs on a New Night.
Gotta love them!
Now there's 2 reasons to laugh on Sunday.
That's funny!
America's Funniest Home Videos, followed by an all-new Dinosaurs tonight.
I'll never forget it. It was the big game. And it was all up to me. For years, I've been wishing I'd swung at that pitch. Hit or miss, at least I'd have given it a shot. So if you're a guy who wants to find out more about Rogaine with minoxidil, whether it's for you, don't just stand there with a bat on your shoulder. Find out about it.
To find out about Rogaine topical solution, call 1-800-666-5533 and Upjohn will send you an informative brochure about Rogaine. And because only a doctor can prescribe Rogaine, they'll even send you a list of local doctors who can help you decide about it.
If you'd like to find out more about Rogaine with minoxidil, don't stand there with the bat on your shoulder. Make the call now.
Spirit of Hampton Road.
Back at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, we are under a full course caution now. Just too many incidents and too many vehicles out on the track. Now here was the situation that set up the final incident that brought us to the full course yellow as Al Unser Jr. trying to maneuver outside of Nigel Mansell, touched with him. Look at this. He comes right inside. Now he tries to get past. And that bounces Mansell's right rear in the air, but more importantly, it causes damage to the front of little Al's car.
Bobby, I say that Nigel was blameless there. I think he was trying to give little Al as much running room as he could and just couldn't give him enough. What do you think?
Yeah, well, the thing about it is it's a blind place. Little Al was passing him. He was on the outside of him. He was going to try to get him in that right-hand turn, Sam. But the problem was, look at here. Nigel can't see that he's still trying the outside, and Nigel is taking a normal groove. Unfortunately, little Al was there between Nigel and the wall.
This is a corner that has caused difficulties before between 1 and 2 here. Most in particular between Al Unser Jr. and Mario Andretti. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Paul, under the yellow, Nigel Mansell came in for service and an inspection. They changed all 4 tires, didn't find any damage at the back. They made the stop in under 12 seconds. The whole crew here has an opportunity to watch all of this because there's a large video screen right behind their pit. They've been able to see the replays. That helped them ascertain if there was a problem they had to address.
So under the full course yellow, they line up at the moment, Paul Tracy and Nigel Mansell. But Paul Tracy picked up a tremendous advantage in that he made a stop for a blistering tire under the yellow.
So I'd spoken of Paul Tracy's luck. That was his 3rd piece of luck, in addition to be able coming in for the shredded tire and then having 2 of his chief combatants knock themselves out of the race.
Let's get a further update on Paul Tracy from Jack Arute.
Well, Paul, we can show you the tire itself. This is an unusual type of blister. They were able to bring it in. He had already reported that he was developing a blister, and Roger tried to talk him through a couple of laps. Maybe the Penske luck, and we say maybe, is beginning to change from what they incurred in Phoenix, Arizona. Only time will tell. By the way, Roger is continuing to talk Paul Tracy not only around the racetrack, but with this new pit speed limit. He keeps telling him as he comes in, nice and easy, nice and easy. Remember to go slow on the exit.
Well, the Penske luck is holding in NASCAR right now. The Winston Cup race at North Wilkesboro is now over. And it is, yep, another Miller car. Rusty Wallace finishes first. In second, Kyle Petty. So Penske's having a pretty good day of it with his car here out in front of this field. Now, Scott Goodyear, remember, he got a black flag, had to come in and take a stop and go because of speeding in the pits. They're going to do that again for him, again speeding in the pits.
We think of Roger Penske as being such a dominant force in IndyCar racing, and he is, but remember that his last IndyCar championship was back in 1988. So it's really been quite a long drought, and probably Paul Tracy may give him the best chance for getting the championship this year. So this is really a key race for him if he's going to get started.
So Paul Tracy now answers the green flag with Nigel Mansell just behind. And here comes Scott Goodyear taking that stop-and-go penalty in and out. Billy Camphouse, the IndyCar official on the scene there, as soon as he came to a stop, signaled him back out. But that will be costly for Scott Goodyear since the front of the field was all bunched together.
Well, the McKenzie people could see a win.
Here's a surprise. Bobby Rahal in and out of the pits on what is a green flag start.
That one was strange, Paul. I didn't understand why he didn't stop under the yellow, why he stopped on the green. Didn't make a lot of sense. Unless he had a problem we just don't know about.
Rahal was running in 7th place. Jack Arute?
Well, Bobby, it was a spirited discussion between car owners, Carl Hogan and Bobby Rahal. Bobby wanted to pit. Carl Hogan said no. It was back and forth, back and forth. Lo and behold, the green came out before they settled the argument.
And Rahal was apparently already on the pit road when the green came out.
I've seen that happen before, but boy, that's bad communication.
So there he is, car number 12, Paul Tracy. He's the leader of the race. 2 seconds back now is Nigel Mansell in a car that has taken the advantage of stopping in the pits, picking up fresh tires, and appears undamaged after its confrontation with Al Unser Jr. So Mansell now will begin to stalk Paul Tracy. In third place, it's Roberto Guerrero. Mario Andretti is fourth. Raul Boesel is fifth. Scott Goodyear has fallen back into sixth place.
Now, Tracy has about a 4-second lead over Mansell, and this is where he has got to think himself around the racetrack. Not make the kind of mistake or error or whatever you want to call it he made at Phoenix and get caught up in slower traffic. However, here it's almost impossible. You saw him squeezed by Danny Sullivan. It's almost impossible not to be very close and to have to take chance after chance.
And look at Danny Sullivan's right front tire under braking. Now, if you've gone to the standard race driving school and they say you brake in a straight line, then you turn. Look at this,
Tracy ahead of him.
Coming in. And Danny Sullivan right behind him. Why is Tracy back in? More blistering? Are tires a problem, Jack?
Left rear.
Absolutely, Paul. A left rear flat tire. So there must be some debris still out on the racetrack because this is another tire problem.
Oh, Paul Tracy comes in, picks up a tire off the lead of the race. He does it in 11 seconds, but of course it gives the lead to Nigel Mansell.
Well, that just goes to show you, you can't count on anything in racing, and you certainly can't predict it. That was really tough luck. That's more like the Penske luck we've seen recently.
So we ride with the leader of the race, Nigel Mansell. Remember, he is in terrible pain still from his accident in practice at Phoenix, Arizona. In fact, he's had a terrible time just trying to climb in and out of the race car during practice and qualifying here, and in fact cut short one of his practice sessions by nearly 20 minutes just because it was so uncomfortable.
This is an incredible opportunity for Mansell, as you see Buddy Lazier there in the pits, for Mansell to pour it on. He's got a clear run ahead of him on the track, no traffic. He could gain several seconds because people, his pursuers are doing this kind of thing. Look at Robbie Gordon.
Robbie Gordon with the right front shredded off the rim of his car as he comes down to the A.J. Foyt pits. He was running in 12th place, but why? Well, watch this. Watch him with the 99 car.
Boy, you certainly can't brake very good. You notice that right front tire just quit, or the wheel quits turning. There's no tire left on it.
There you are as he comes alongside Eddie Cheever. Cheever moves out on him. Whoa.
Cheever moved down on him, left him no place to go there. Boy, that was really close, Paul.
So Robbie Gordon with fresh rubber now back into the fight. But again, it has had an impact on his position as he drops to 14.
These are some of the unpredictable things that we always see here in Long Beach.
We should probably clarify this pit rule of a speed limit in the pits. Once they get past the last pit, which is occupied by Newman Haas, the last pit specifically is Nigel Mansell's, then they can go ahead and take up full throttle.
Buddy Lazier is getting a wing change on the car. They're working on the back. It's either a wing change or they're working on the transmission. It looks like a wing.
Roberto Guerrero. You see him there, the 40 car. He sits in second place. His adversary, Mario Andretti, is right behind him.
This is a real renaissance for Roberto Guerrero, driving in his first full season in many, many years since his terrible concussion and the long time he spent unconscious after his crash in Indianapolis. You see him ripping by Lyondike handily there. He lives in nearby San Juan Capistrano, and of course that means he's commuting to here from his home, which is always great. He's having a wonderful show.
Driving for the great drag racing champion, now a top fuel driver, Kenny Bernstein,
who's here this weekend.
Kenny has all kinds of race cars. The drag racer he drives, Winston Cup car, and an IndyCar. Mario Andretti now comes around Arie Luyendyk, resumes his pursuit of Roberto Guerrero. The leader is still Nigel Mansell. You're on board, Luyendyk. Watching a rather rapidly disappearing race here as he tries to play catch-up. Luyendyk in 11th place. If the drivers at this point could look up to the right, they would see some tremendous new construction here at the Convention Center in Long Beach. They're building once again, and much of that can be ascribed to the success of this race because they have tremendous reconstruction in their downtown area, and this event has certainly helped put Long Beach, California back on the map. So Nigel Mansell is the leader with Roberto Guerrero now running in second place, and Mario Andretti still in the fight in third.
Here's one way to make your all-purpose vehicle a true all-terrain vehicle. Here's another, the Goodyear Wrangler GSA with triple traction. It's like getting 3 tires in one. You get an area for quiet highway traction, for wet weather traction, and for rugged off-road traction from Goodyear. Wherever you drive, on the road, off the road, down the highways, wet or dry, get the tire that's like 3 tires in one. Wrangler GSA, only from Goodyear. You'll know why we like to say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
We started a revolution in the streets. And now it's hitting the water. Introducing the Yamaha Wave Blaster. Essentially, it's the world's most radically advanced bike. Now available on the water.
I love to work on the cars, and I still work on the cars. There's not one part of the race car that I cannot put together myself. I can drive it pretty good, too. A top-notch mechanic reaches back and picks a tool out of his toolbox. He can tell right then if it's got the quality or not.
1,600 Craftsman hand tools, made in America, guaranteed forever.
If any tool was ever made better, it'd have to be made by Craftsman.
Only at Sears.
When it's this hot outside, you know how hot it is inside. That's why you need Armor All, the world's leading protectant. No matter how hot it gets or how cold, Armor All helps keep your dash looking new. We're so sure about it, we guarantee it. If your new dash ever cracks, we'll replace it. Guaranteed. There is a fountain of youth, and we guarantee it. Armor All. Don't take chances.
Bowling's best are center stage. An elite field takes aim at their sport's most prestigious title. It's the Firestone Tournament of Champions on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour Saturday.
The Toyota Grand Prix is brought to you by Goodyear, #1 in tires. By your local Yamaha dealer, who invites you to see their exciting line of motorcycles, ATVs, and water vehicles. By Sears Craftsman, a line of 1,600 hand tools made in America. And by Armor All. There is a fountain of youth, and we own the patent.
Back at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, where Nigel Mansell is still the leader here, followed by Roberto Guerrero. Don't forget, coming up next month, ABC Sports heads to the Brickyard, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for the greatest spectacle in racing. Saturday, May 15th, we'll begin live coverage of the Indianapolis time trials. And then on May 30th, it's the Indianapolis 500, live next month here on ABC. Allenser Jr., the defending champion there. And the Speedway just this week announcing that there's going to be 2 great races for you in 94. On August 6th of 94, the Brickyard 400 for NASCAR, the Winston Cup cars. The phones were flooded at the Speedway, like 70,000 calls, asking about seats and everything the minute that they made that announcement. Let's go to the pits.
Al, obviously great disappointment. Tell us what happened as you battled for that position.
Well, Nigel and I, we were running together, and he's just blocking very, very well, I guess, you know. And then I got him. He got a little bit too much blocking me on the inside going into turn 1. Put him on the outside of turn 2 entry, and it screwed him up a little bit. I was set up for it, and I did him on the outside. And then when we came off at turn 2 exit, he squeezed me against the wall.
Did you think you had him cleanly passed?
I had him covered. He knows exactly where I am when I'm behind him, but as soon as I got beside him, he lost where I was. So, which is BS. The guy, you know, what can I say?
All right.
We'll handle it.
Thank you, Al.
Allenser Jr., his first DNF here at Long Beach since 1985. Pretty disappointed, Bobby.
Yes, I know he's very
very
disappointed. You know, they've had such a hard time getting that car work, the whole Gallus crew. they're all going to be so disappointed, along with little Al, because it's the first time this year they've had anything fast at all.
Yeah, but if it's working here, how's it going to work at Indy?
Well, what they've learned here will help every place because they've been so far behind, non-competitive in Phoenix by a long way. This is definitely a step forward for them.
Nigel Mansell now leads Guerrero by about 7.5 seconds. Oddly enough, that is the biggest lead that we have seen in the last 30 to 40 laps.
Behind Mario Andretti there is Eddie Cheever and Scott Pruitt, a battle for 9th place. Raul Boisel, who runs in 4th place right now, is trying to catch up to Mario Andretti. But he's got that other battle in between him, and those two guys aren't going to let up.
Of course, Boisel was second and Andretti first in Phoenix 2 weeks ago. So this race, in some ways, although very different, is starting to shake out with maybe headed toward the same sort of result.
You see Emerson Fittipaldi, there he is in the midst of all of this. Remember, he's about 4 laps behind the race. Early on, they changed the turbocharger component, and as a result, he had a long pit stop. Boisel now is trying to work his way forward as he splits up Scott Pruitt and Eddie Cheever and tries to chase Mario Andretti.
Boisel's been a guy that we've been watching all weekend, Paul, that's really been fast through some of the turns, really fast during the day at the end of the practice day. He's been struggling all of this race trying to get up. He's always there, but not